Nestled amidst the towering Himalayas, Pahalgam, a picturesque town in Jammu and Kashmir, has long been a sanctuary for peace-seeking souls. Known for its lush meadows, gushing rivers, and snow-capped peaks, it's a place where nature's grandeur soothes the soul. The Lidar River, a serpent of silver, winds its way through the valley, its gentle murmur a constant melody. Pahalgam, a paradise on earth, a haven for tourists, and a symbol of tranquility. But on this fateful day, the serenity was shattered. The air, usually filled with the sweet scent of pine and the laughter of tourists, grew heavy with the stench of gunpowder and the cries of the innocent. Terror had struck this idyllic haven, leaving behind a trail of blood and tears. The tranquility of this paradise was eternally scarred, the echoes of gunfire replacing the melody of the Lidar. The date, April 29th, 2025, etched in infamy. A group of terrorists, driven by an ideology of hate, descended upon this peaceful town. Their objective? To unleash terror and inflict maximum casualties. They came armed, prepared, and with a chilling determination to kill. This is the story of that tragic day. A day when evil cast its long shadow over paradise. A day when the world watched in horror. A day that will forever be seared into the memory of Pahalgam. How did the terrorists breach the security cordon and penetrate the heart of Pahalgam? This question haunts investigators and fuels speculation. The rugged terrain surrounding the town, with its dense forests and treacherous mountain passes, offers ample cover for clandestine movement. Did they infiltrate under the cover of darkness, navigating the treacherous mountain passes, their movements masked by the dense foliage? Did they exploit the dense forests that blanket the region, using the ancient trails known only to shepherds and smugglers? Or did they find a more sinister route, aided by collaborators who betrayed their nation for a fistful of silver? The possibility of local support, while deeply unsettling, cannot be ignored. The lure of money, the fear of reprisals, or a warped sense of ideology, the motivations could be many. The investigation must unravel this tangled web and expose those who aided and abetted this act of terror. The truth, elusive as the mountain mist, remains hidden. The investigators have their task cut out, to piece together the fragments of evidence, to track down every lead, and to unmask those who orchestrated this heinous crime. The nation demands answers. The terrorists came armed for war, their arsenal a grim testament to their deadly intent. They carried an assortment of weapons, each one a tool of death and destruction, each one designed to inflict maximum casualties and sow terror far and wide. Eyewitness accounts and forensic evidence point to the use of AK-47 assault rifles, their deafening staccato bursts shattering the afternoon calm. These weapons of war, notorious for their lethality and widespread availability, have become tragically synonymous with terrorist attacks worldwide. But the terrorists' arsenal wasn't limited to firearms. Grenades, small yet potent instruments of destruction, were also deployed, adding to the carnage. The explosions, deafening and indiscriminate, ripped through the air, turning the once peaceful meadow into a scene of unimaginable horror. The choice of weapons reveals a chilling disregard for human life. The terrorists aimed not only to kill, but to maim, to terrorize, and to leave an enduring scar on the soul of Pahalgam. The weapons they carried were not mere tools. They were extensions of their hate-filled ideology. The attack unfolded with the suddenness of a lightning strike. It was a day like any other in Baisaran, a lush meadow nestled near Pahalgam. Tourists were soaking in the beauty of the landscape, the air filled with the sounds of laughter and the click of cameras. Little did they know that they were about to walk into a nightmare. The terrorists, their faces contorted with hate, emerged from the periphery, their weapons spitting fire. Their targets, innocent civilians, men, women and children, enjoying a day out in the lap of nature. The first shots rang out, sharp and loud, piercing the tranquility of the afternoon. Panic seized the crowd as the idyllic scene transformed into a tableau of horror. Witnesses described scenes of unimaginable chaos and terror, people running for their lives, desperate to escape the hail of bullets, the air thick with the smell of gunpowder and the screams of the wounded. The terrorists, merciless in their assault, fired indiscriminately into the fleeing crowd. Amidst the chaos, there were acts of incredible courage. Locals, risking their own lives, shielded tourists, guiding them towards safety. The spirit of humanity, even in the face of such barbarity, refused to be extinguished. But the damage was done, the meadow stained with the blood of innocents. Section 5. Aftermath. A valley shrouded in grief. As the echoes of gunfire faded, a chilling silence descended upon the valley. The once vibrant meadow, now a scene of carnage. The air heavy with the scent of gunpowder and the cries of the wounded. The beautiful valley of Pahalgam, stained with the blood of innocents. The aftermath was a scene of utter devastation. Bodies lay scattered across the meadow, their lives cut short in a senseless act of violence. The injured, some with life-threatening wounds, cried out for help. The lucky ones who had escaped the terrorists' bullets were left in a state of shock and disbelief. The silence was finally broken by the wail of sirens as ambulances rushed to the scene, their lights flashing through the smoke and dust. Frantic efforts were made to ferry the injured to hospitals, while the bodies of the deceased were collected with reverence and grief. The attack left behind a trail of devastation. The physical scars a grim reminder of the day terror visited paradise. But the invisible scars, the psychological trauma inflicted on survivors and witnesses, will continue to haunt the valley for years to come. Section 6. The response. A nation rattles its saber. The news of the Pahalgam attack sent shockwaves across India and beyond. A wave of anger and grief swept the nation as images of the carnage flashed across television screens. The government, jolted into action, vowed swift and decisive retribution against the perpetrators. Prime Minister Modi, his voice trembling with anger and resolve, addressed the nation. He condemned the attack as a cowardly act of terrorism and offered his condolences to the families of the victims. He vowed to hunt down the perpetrators and bring them to justice. Security forces were put on high alert across the region, and a massive manhunt was launched to apprehend the terrorists. The army, working in tandem with the police and paramilitary forces, cordoned off vast areas and conducted house-to-house searches. Intelligence agencies went into overdrive, working tirelessly to track down any leads that could lead to the arrest of those responsible. The Home Minister, in a strongly worded statement, asserted India's resolve to fight terrorism with an iron hand. He declared that the perpetrators would be found and brought to justice, no matter where they hid. The message was clear: India would not be cowed down by acts of terror. Section 7. The world reacts, condemnation and concern. The international community, shocked and outraged by the Pahalgam attack, rallied behind India in its hour of grief. Messages of condolence and support poured in from world leaders, condemning the attack in the strongest possible terms. The United States, a steadfast ally in the fight against terrorism, offered its deepest condolences to the victims and their families. The US President, in a phone call to Prime Minister Modi, reiterated his country's commitment to stand shoulder to shoulder with India in combating terrorism in all its forms. The United Nations Security Council, in a rare show of unity, condemned the attack as heinous and cowardly and called for the perpetrators to be brought to justice. The UN Secretary-General, expressing his deep sorrow, urged all nations to unite in the global fight against terrorism. From Europe to Asia, from Africa to Australia, the message was unanimous. Terrorism has no place in the modern world. The global community stood united in its condemnation of the Pahalgam attack, offering their support to India in its fight against this menace. Section 8. The why echoes of a long conflict. The Pahalgam attack, while shocking in its brutality, is a grim reminder of the volatile situation in Jammu and Kashmir. The region, a bone of contention between India and Pakistan for decades, has been a hotbed of militancy and unrest. The attack, coming at a time when the region had been witnessing a relative lull in violence, raises serious questions about the motives and the support base of the perpetrators. Was this a desperate attempt by militants to derail the peace process? Or was it a calculated move to incite communal tensions and destabilize the region? The attack also highlights the complex geopolitical realities of the region. The involvement of external actors seeking to exploit the situation for their own strategic gains cannot be ruled out. The investigation must explore all angles and expose those who seek to foment trouble in this sensitive region. The Pahalgam attack is a stark reminder that the path to peace in Kashmir is long and arduous. It requires a multi-pronged approach, addressing not only the security concerns, but also the underlying political and socio-economic issues that fuel the conflict. Section 9. A time for resolve. The fight continues. The Pahalgam attack is a stark reminder that the fight against terrorism is far from over. It demands unwavering resolve, collective action, and a zero-tolerance approach towards those who seek to spread fear and violence. The Indian government, while grieving the loss of innocent lives, has shown steely determination in its response. The security forces have been given a free hand to deal with the terrorists with an iron fist. The message is clear: terrorism will not be tolerated on Indian soil. But the fight against terrorism cannot be won by military might alone. It requires a concerted effort to address the root causes of this menace: poverty, illiteracy, unemployment, and social exclusion. It requires winning the hearts and minds of the people, particularly the youth, who are most vulnerable to radicalization. The Pahalgam attack, though a tragedy of immense proportions, has only strengthened India's resolve to fight terrorism. The nation stands united in its grief and its determination to bring the perpetrators to justice. The fight will continue, and India will emerge victorious.